Dr. Gigi Sabat, and you're listening into the Rooted in Joy podcast. Joining me today are our amazing co-hosts, Renee and Sherry, and our amazing guest, Cathy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to see all of you in person. Thank you for having me.
Likewise, such an honor to have you here today.
Hi, Cathy. Hi, Cathy.
Hello.
Well, Cathy, these are my local peeps. This is Dr. Gigi, and this is Renee, and they're friends of ours.
Yes, such an honor.
Nice to meet you. I've seen Dr. Gigi on Facebook, but never in person. So I'm happy to be doing that today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is our Rooted in Joy. We came up with that idea, and that's our topic usually, because no matter what, we always find something to be joyful for. And you're just radiant today.
Oh, thank you.
So you must be really excited about something.
Oh, yes. I'm about 1 week out from launching my book called Walking Each Other Home, Guiding Community and Caregivers Through the Sacred Passage of Death.
I'm so proud of you for getting that out there.
Thank you. It was a long time coming, although I never intended to write a book, but it happened. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. So tell us what gave you that passion to all of a sudden jump into writing a book?
So, well, I've been an RN for 36 years with critical care and hospice and home care, and the operating room was my other favorite, but I'd bounce back and forth. But at the end of my career, I was kind of getting ready to have a retirement plan because as a nurse, we can't sit still. So I decided that actually it was my sister who turned me on to the topic of death doula. So I explored that a little bit and decided that this was what I was going to do for retirement. So, I went through my certifications and then a couple of things happened. My father died, and it was during my grief process with him that I started having insights into grief and loss and all things end of life. So I started writing stuff down, and then another thing happened right after my father's death, which I think was emotionally connected to the grief, was that I ended up in the hospital with intractable back pain. Ended up getting an infection, almost died, almost didn't come home. And, but it was during that process of writing it down and having the insights that I realized that I need to get this information out to people. So once I sort of climbed out of that hole, I started creating a 6-week educational workshop for the community, which was very successful. And then I realized I wasn't really reaching a lot of people. I wanted to reach more people. So that was the reason for the book. I saw all the material that I had put together and said, wow, this could be a book. So here we are.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how, you being a nurse, being there at the bedside for so long and going through the journey with people, it takes somebody so close to us where that's when we really learn so much. We can do it with people for decades, but until it gets so personal, we really learn what's missing.
Exactly. When you're in the thick of it, that's the best learning experience. So yeah, I've had many others too, personal experiences. So
yeah.
What message do you have for an individual who's going through the grieving process as well?
Okay, that's a good question. I'll just kind of use an example of my own personal experience. I have a son who died by overdose, and I knew in my heart that that was going to be a really hard process. So I always listen to the voice in my head. It's never been wrong. And it said to hang on, you're going to have to go through this process, but be conscious with it. Sit with it. Don't ignore it. Don't push it away. Just make sure you go through it. And I did. And was a really interesting visceral feeling of just riding waves of going through this process. And I think it really helped me in the end. So I think the message would be present with it. Don't push it away. I'm sad that our, society, you get 3 or 4 days off from work when you lose somebody. And I think that society needs to have a little more compassion about that to help somebody get through that process.
What do you find the steps to be to help someone to get through that process? What is it that they should do to try and get through their grief?
Well, number one, to recognize it. I mean, that's the important thing. Recognize it. It's important. It's real. Don't let anyone tell you how long you should grieve for. I mean, I've heard it. I've heard people say, maybe behind someone's back, she should be over this by now. And we never get over grief. It's a lifelong process when you lose someone really important to you. And I like to say that, we kind of learn to grow around grief. It becomes part of us. It shapes our future. So, I mean, I'm remembering on social media, there's always, several times a year it goes around, but it's a sculpture of a man sitting on a bench. And it's a metal sculpture, and he's got his head in his hands, and the middle of him is a big open hole. And to me, that really represents what grief feels like and how we learn to grow around it. So the other steps are that ask for help if you're needing it. I mean, when my dad died, and it's been almost 3 years now, but when he died, I literally couldn't get off the couch for days. That's all I could do was sit and look out the window. And so asking for help, and don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help. And if you get beyond a certain point, then if you're not getting through your days and you're still crying every day, I would give it about a year. And if beyond that you're still doing that, maybe seek professional help.
I really like that. And our culture doesn't teach that enough. So I think anybody who's listening to this, or that any one of us comes in contact to, if we see someone who is grieving, we know their situation and they've lost someone, it's good. It's an opportunity to teach them, I think, like, hey, it's okay. You might not want to ask for help, but I want you to ask for help. I don't know what you need. Please ask for help when you think of what you might want.
Sometimes too, people don't know how to ask for help because they're not understanding the grief. So how do you have someone understand what they're going through for that grief to ask for help? Because as I share, sometimes they just don't understand how.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, and especially as women, we get it done. We don't ask for help. So I would say the first thing that anybody with somebody who's grieving is just to be present. Sometimes you don't have to do anything at all. So sometimes just your presence is enough. But and I mentioned in the book too, and this is more related to caregiving, but it could apply to grief as well, that people don't know, what they need. And so I love the thing that's out there called meal train. And so sometimes people, they don't even ask. They just say, are you going to be home at 8 o'clock tonight? And then voila, there are, groceries on the doorstep. Who can think about, shopping when you're in your deepest grief, or even eating? So, yeah.
So in a way, it's like what the body and the mind goes through to understand it. It's like when you're in hospice and your loved one is passing, and there's stages that happen that the family is aware of, like what the next step is. Like they're written. I know when my father-in-law was passing, we had gotten a sheet from hospice of these are the stages. We think he's getting better, but this is the stage of what his body is going through to pass on, and how it's important that we let him know it's okay to go, that they don't stay for us.
Yeah. So And what's interesting though is people need to know that sometimes those stages, the stages of grief, they don't happen in the order that we read about them, right? So I would say that, and I'm really happy that your hospice did provide that information because many don't, and people don't have that support. It's important to know that yes, the body is designed to die. It's got a built-in mechanism. We're all going to do it. So to be able to recognize those processes, and it does get confusing, like you mentioned, that sometimes people will have what they call terminal lucidity, and they will literally wake up out of a deep sleep and ask. My father did that. He said, "I'd like a cup of coffee." He had been sleeping for like 8 days, not eating or drinking, and he wanted a cup of coffee. Of course, by the time we got it for him, he wasn't interested in it anymore. And I think he just wanted the aroma of it. Maybe that made him feel comfortable. But so and also though, that it's not just the patient who is grieving their own loss about leaving the world, but grief starts the minute somebody gets a terminal diagnosis. It starts then, and then it spreads to the family, I think. And so
Very true.
yeah.
We recently just lost my cousin to breast cancer. We also lost my uncle, my great aunt, and the list goes on. We did lose a lot of family members, unfortunately, and it is one of the most difficult things to go through. But there's nothing like family support as well as support from your friends in the community.
Right.
So I definitely understand.
And I do agree with you when you call it delayed grief. When my mom died, and then a week later my mother-in-law died, and as you say, we as women, we're always the caretaker. I had what was called delayed PTSD. And it's like you had said, like after a year, you're still crying and you're all of that going on. You should, definitely seek for help. Where my doctor, I thought it was my hormones going wild, and she just said, you have PTSD. And I was just in shock. And I had what was called delayed PTSD because I got it was 6 months later is when it all started to hit me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. I didn't know why I was feeling like that until 6 months later when I went to the doctor, and that's what she told me. And I was just like, wow, and that's what I meant before about getting the understanding of grief. And what it is that we deal with and the shock, like what caused it. Like with mine was the shock of my mom. She always had heart problems for 50 something years. But when it happened, it was, what do you mean? She went through all of this. She had a life and death experience. What are you talking about? And then that's actually what put me into my grief stage of the PTSD, is the shock that she actually died.
Yeah, grief is a whole complex thing. I mean, my mom, I think it's been 35 years, and one day, I on social media on her birthday, I like to change my profile picture to her picture just to honor her. I try to do many different things to honor my family and people that have gone ahead of me, and I mean, I do this every year. I was used to it, and all of a sudden this year, I was hit so hard. Like I looked at her eyes in the picture and I fell apart completely. And I sat there, and of course, with my grief experience with my dad, I said, okay, sit with it. Let's find out what this is, about. It's not just about the losing her. And then I had realized that I never grieved her when she died. I must have gone into a numb state that I don't even remember most of her funeral. I remember one thing, and that was that the pastor who was speaking, I just remember saying, he doesn't know her at all. And he was saying things that were like not meaningful, and it was just felt kind of trite. I mean, obviously he was doing the best he could. He didn't know her, but that was my thought in the moment. And then I realized that's the only thing I remember. I don't remember the reception after. I remember nothing. And so that was a moment for me to say, okay, let's move through this. Let's bring it up and go through it in that conscious way.
And I think too with grief is that when you let it in, you feel the presence of the person that passed, like they're with you, or things happen, or you hear something. And I think children are so are so influential, like intuitive, that they could see whoever it was. Like my granddaughter last night was playing in the crib with someone. My daughter was watching her, and she was doing peekaboo, and she was like laughing. And my daughter said, I remember saying to my girlfriend Amanda, who passed, help me with her. She's like crazy, you know, like they're little and they're like, you know, how moms get. And that evening, she witnessed my granddaughter playing with someone. So maybe it was her girlfriend who she spoke to. I'm not sure, but you know,
I have so many goosebumps right now, and I love that story.
so it does happen, you know. And my niece saw my father-in-law. She would always say, "Oh, Papa's by my crib," and we're like, "Okay." And then she, you know, it's so funny too, like when you think about that, because she was playing with her dolls, and she's, you know, my niece had said, "Who are you playing with?" She goes, "I'm playing with the babies," and she thought she meant her dolls. But my mother-in-law and father-in-law had 2 children who passed.
Oh.
That's who she was playing with. She goes, Papa's right there, and I'm playing with the babies.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I love hearing stories like that.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
just saying that children are so, like, they see.
They do.
They do see. Like when we
That's
moved here to Florida, when my father had passed, my grandson kept looking at stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he was watching, he ran to the back window, and we had a hammock, and the wind wasn't blowing, but the hammock was moving.
Ooh.
So I said to my mom before she, you know, was wild, I said, I think Dad was here because Nate was following something, and that had happened. So I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, when you could see those that have passed and you're open-minded to it and have dreams about it, like I have, like dreams of my mom, my mother-in-law, and things like that. My husband gets upset. He's like, how come I don't get it? I said, because you're not open enough. You know.
Or who knows? I mean, maybe, I mean, I feel my family come to me in times when I maybe need some support,
Yeah.
you know, and so maybe your husband's all set. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's true. And then, you know, the cardinal, I think, as we always say, cardinal comes and visits. And
Right.
and it's funny too. It's like you say with visit, like in the beginning, the cardinal was there every single day. And once I saw the cardinal on the fence, I was crying so hard that cardinal flew to my face and then right to something to land on and was just looking at me. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and I do believe the cardinals, they come when you need them, any of that. And when you don't need them and you're fine, you don't see the cardinals as much. So
Yeah, a cardinal did come to the window as my dad was dying. Well, he was, I mean, it took a process, but there was one that did, and it was a female cardinal. So I'm wondering if it was my mother. I don't know.
yeah, right? Yeah, because they are a different color. They're not as red
Yeah.
as the male.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, hearing all of this talk on grief, it's really bringing something to mind as far as emotions and allowing ourselves to feel those emotions like Renee was talking about, and facing it head on and not ignoring it and putting it off to the side, because it's bound to come out at some point or another.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And I had an epiphany yesterday, actually, because people would ask me. So my dad died in October, and I went in the hospital on New Year's Eve. And I was in the hospital for 12 days. And yesterday, I went back and looked at something that I had written, and I had written that I was paralyzed with grief. And the thing that I went in the hospital with was for intractable back pain. Like came out of, I woke up, I was fine. And as the day went on, I couldn't move. And I'm thinking, yesterday I realized that was it. My grief and my words caused that to happen, because they never found out what was wrong with my back. I had some fluid in the joint space, but I don't think it should have, in the disc space, but I don't think it should have caused that I was feeling. So it hit me yesterday. That's probably what it was. I have to change my words now.
How our body, the cells in our body, whether it's in our muscles or in our heart or in our brain or our kidneys, it listens. And there is a huge connection there. You know, the stress of the grief, you know, just can pull the rug out from under somebody.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's to address it, acknowledge it, and like you said, sit in it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
watch it, and work with it.
Wow.
And now change my words. So my new mantra is, I move through life easily and effortlessly. So changing the words.
Well, I think
Yes,
this was
I
so
like that.
helpful. I think it's gonna be so helpful for a lot of people, and we'll have the information for
Yes, we
people
will.
to reach
Mhm.
out to you in what it is that you do and how it is that you can help them.
I just want to say, I love how you pulled in her book. She talks about everything she needs to teach and educate on, and then she has sections where you can write in, right? You can write
Yeah.
in. And then there are a lot of references and quotes. And I love this one that you pulled out. Legacy is not leaving something for people. So when we're working with things and we're thinking of our children or the legacy we want to leave, it's leaving something in the people,
Amen.
not for the people, but in the people.
Exactly.
That's what's important. And I love that.
Yeah, because legacy is what shapes our future moving forward, our future generations, right? So
And so her book is coming out. Do you want to tell everyone how we can get your book?
sure, it's being released September 17th on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So I invite everybody to check it out. And personally, I really feel that anyone age 18 or older needs to read this book. We're all going to die. We're all going to go through this process. And I feel like, how when somebody has a child, um, the first thing they do is they get the latest Dr. Spock book. They make a plan. They do the nursery. They do all of that for birth, but we don't do that for death. And why not? So I think that's important. And when you are prepared, you're going to face it stronger. You're going to face it better, and there'll be a lot less chaos.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to laugh with Dr. Spock, but I just remember hearing that and everybody got the Dr. Spock book to
I
help.
know I'm dating myself.
That was so cute. Well, I just want to say thank you. I think this was
Thank
great,
you.
but thank you for being with us.
Yes.
I appreciate you having me so much. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to get down to the wellness center. As soon as the book drops, I'm having my knee replaced in October, and then it's going to be all about me, and I'm coming down there to the wellness center.
We will love to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, and I did hear that you'd love to join us at the 3rd Annual Global Warriors Conference. We hope you can join us next week. That's the 3rd Annual Global Warriors Conference, September 19th through the 20th. And we encourage folks to get in the room. This is an event you do not want to miss. And Renee and Sherry are one of our speakers. And we have amazing speakers as well from all over the world and in our local area. In addition to Renee and Sherry, it's amazing. God is good. And we really look forward to seeing you in the room.
That's wonderful. That's so exciting. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Take care.
All right. Now I'm going to get to my next. I'm so glad I made this one.
I know.
Okay.
I don't know how to turn it off. Okay.
Today, County